two things I'm not really into are gaming and Harry Potter. So today, I'll be talking about the controversy surrounding the Harry Potter video game Hogwarts Legacy. Because even though it has nothing to do with the Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, screamy woke progressive types are labelling the game as transphobic. In all fairness, Rowling will be getting royalties from the game, but there's a movement of toxic trans activists who are demanding that anyone who buys the game, anyone who plays it, or even watches a Twitch stream playing it, must be cancelled because, in their warped way of thinking, having anything to do with the world of Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling by default makes you a bigot. The thing is, and I've said this countless times, Rowling has never said anything transphobic. The issue is that the anti-everything brigade are so fucking thick, they cannot tell that being pro-female does not make someone automatically anti-trans. So some of the things that Rowling has spoken up on are women's rights. She's also objected to the way that trans-inclusive language is effectively eradicating women from the English language. Ridiculous terms like chest feeding and birthing parent. She's also spoken out saying that children should not get gender reassignment surgery, and that biological men, no matter what they identify as, should not be in women-only spaces like changing rooms and female prisons. So if saying the rights of biological women are more important than trans women, men who identify as women, if that is transphobic, sign me up to Team TERF. Before I move on, did you know that only 2.5% of women are physically stronger than the average man? An average man, not an athlete or some bodybuilder jacked up on steroids. And that means the average man can overpower 97.5% of women. If that isn't a fucking argument for female-only spaces, I don't know what is. Anyway, the game's developers, aware of the backlash because the author of the Harry Potter novels has been falsely labelled as a transphobe, they preempted the problem by including a trans character within the game. This is a trans woman who runs the Three Broomsticks pub. And I was going to say it's set in the 1800s, so how likely is it there would be a trans woman? But the game's about fucking witches and wizards. Reality doesn't really apply. Anyway, that still wasn't enough for the angry people with blue hair and poor personal hygiene. They're objecting to the trans character's name. So this is the character, Sirona Ryan. But the screamy people took to Twitter to complain that Ryan is a man's name. Which it is when it's used as a first name. Ryan is also a common surname. For example, this is British actress Michelle Ryan. If you look carefully, you'll see she's a woman. Just off the top of my head, there may be more to it than that. I think the game developers may be being very clever, because I've met several trans people who, when they change their name, they will keep their first name or their middle name as part of the transition. For example, my name's Daniel Disgruntled. It isn't, but I've got a ridiculous Scandinavian surname that no fucker can pronounce. So if I transitioned, maybe I would become Phoebe Daniels. Does that make sense? Yet, there was more to come. Some of the keyboard warriors pointed out that the character's first name, Sirona, could be shortened to Sir. So the character's name was Sir Ryan. So clearly, the game developers were mocking trans people. So more outrage was sparked, and I'm sure before long they were talking about microaggressions and white privilege, because they always fucking do. Now, at the risk of sounding like an anti-vaxxer, do you remember them? They've all shut the fuck up, haven't they? The people who were complaining about the character's name should have done their own research, because there's a very good reason for that choice of name. Sirona was the Celtic goddess of healing and a symbol of rebirth. So for a trans character, could there be a better name? Healed and then reborn in a different body. It's perfect, but of course the Twitter warriors, they don't care about that. They want something, anything to moan about. And if it's associated with J.K. Rowling, they just can't fucking resist. An author who created an entire universe of witchcraft and wizardry, but is guilty in the real world of the crime of being factually correct. To me, This sums up the borderline fascist thinking of the woke far left, who are every bit as bad as the far right. In fact, the far right and the far left are different sides of the same fucking coin. Because they want to deplatform, to demonetize, to dox, to destroy anyone who wants to spend their afternoon on their games console pretending to be a wizard. Yet, if I put on a dress and pretend to be a woman, I am stunning and brave. I was going to end this video with a quote from one of the Harry Potter novels, but I haven't read them, so I can't. As ever, thanks for watching.